and welcome to Class Dismissed, brought to you by Freedom Project Academy. I am Katie, joined by Dave, Jim, and Lindsay. And we're going to kick things off with a headline that I had to read twice. From I Do to BA, marriage prospects quietly influence how students choose majors. Apparently, we've been doing some research on this, and we have an economist who decided to research how is it that students actually pick out their majors? Is it just, financial prospects or location or actual job things? No, they included marriage prospects as part of this. But before we get to it, let's go back in time and remember when one Charlie Kirk gave a 14-year-old girl some advice about going to college.
Let me also speak to some of the young ladies here in high school where your top, who's here where your top priority is get married and have kids? Raise your hand. Okay. Interestingly, I think there is an argument to bring back the MRS degree. And no, seriously. And just be clear, that's why you're going to college, right? Don't lie to yourself, I'm studying sociology. No, you're not. We know why you're here. And that's okay, actually. And that's a really good reason to go to college, actually, especially an SEC school. Like, you will find a husband if you have the intent to find a husband at Ole Miss. Like, it's just going to happen, okay? Or wherever. Yeah, there you go, see? Or at University of Alabama. There you go. But I always laugh because, and by the way, we should bring back the celebration of the MRS degree, which is, no, serious. I mean, if you think about it, like, I say college is a scam, but if you're going to find your life partner, like, that's actually a really good reason to go to college. You have a bunch of people that are single, they're at the prime of their, let's just say attractiveness. The dating pool is as robust as you'll ever find, and they all live together over a 4-year period. Like, you don't get much better than that, okay? It doesn't get better after college there. And so, yeah, you could go learn some stuff. That's fine, I guess, or whatever. Just don't listen to your professors. But that actually was the reason why a lot of women went to college in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And it worked. Marriage rates have plummeted since that.
Well, there's that.
I imagine some, couple in the audience, and he's got some, high-maintenance girlfriend, and she's like, yes! And he's just like...
Yeah, well, we could talk more about that in a moment, but the story is actually from an economist named Harry Alper Arslan, who found that marriage-related preferences are a likely factor when students choose a major in college. And I guess he's an assistant professor in the Department of Economics at the University of Texas at San Antonio. Now, he co-authored a paper that was called Testing the Effects of an Unobservable Factor. Do marriage prospects affect college major choice? And I will tell you, in my case, no. But there are people out there, and maybe you guys are more familiar with the MRS degree. I had no idea what that was. And then someone had to tell me, I'm like, oh, Mrs., I get it now.
Yeah.
But I never knew that growing up.
I know my husband, we didn't go to college together, but I know, as electives, he would take tennis to play with the girls. I took tennis
to learn the sport.
Well, he didn't take it to learn the sport. I tell you that right now. So, I mean, but a whole major?
Oh, yeah, so I got into education because my fiance was in education.
Oh. Well, then.
She's 5 years older than me. So when I got into college, I was just a dumb puppy who had no idea what he wanted to do. She had already nearly finished in the education program, and we had so much in common, and I thought I liked maybe kids, being around kids. I wasn't sure really at the time.
I apologize to Harbor's 3 kids.
But then kind of seeing what she was doing led me to say, oh, yeah, I think I could do that, and I would enjoy that. So I became a teacher, and it's all because of who I was dating.
Wow.
Aww.
I did not do that. I just wanted that to be on record.
I did,
I actually was homeschooled, and so my mom taught me, and I kind of idolized her and thought it was just so cool that what she taught, how she taught us. So I went into education for that reason. I think it's hilarious how he's saying, let's bring back the MRS degree.
It took me a
college is
second
the
to
best place or a
realize-
great place for you to go find a husband. Yeah, that's fair. I did read the article, though, and it did say that if women go into college or the university system wanting to be married within 5 years of graduation, they're more likely to be a education major or possibly a nursing major. It's kind of interesting how you make things completely flat and normal and in a total egalitarian society that women actually pick professions that are more nurturing in nature. I found that quite interesting. From the article.
My wife got her MRS degree by default because once we had our first child, we put him in daycare and he had 7 ear infections in the course of 5 months.
Oh.
And she was taking off from work and we're paying the daycare. And financially, it just didn't make any sense. So she resigned after her second year teaching.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. She was an MRS for the rest of her life.
Well, and I do think that, Charlie Kirk was being a little tongue-in-cheek because, I mean, his wife is college educated, before they were met and married. So,
Yeah.
I don't want to preach to girls of like, no, your education means nothing.
Exactly. All right.
Sorry.
Well, we're going to move on to the bus situation, right? How do you get to school? And more importantly, are there leaked plans out there showing school buses and how they could become roaming surveillance vehicles?
What?
And I was like, what? What are we even talking about? But yes, there are some plans out there that maybe means school buses are doing more than just transporting children.
Layla, come here. No, wait! Stop!
The scenes are
that
heart-stopping.
cooks my
Vehicles
goose.
narrowly missing children, speeding by school buses with a stop arm out and lights flashing. This car nearly hitting
my
2
gosh.
children waiting for the bus in Indiana earlier this year. A company called Bus Patrol is using AI-powered cameras on more than 40,000 buses in 22 states to catch
a lot
vehicle
of buses.
violations. The Lower Merion School District outside Philadelphia is using the cameras this school year.
That stop sign comes out, those cameras start recording.
They took us on a routine bus route to demonstrate how it works, and in just 30 minutes, we saw several possible violations.
Okay, so we have the stop sign out.
This car ignoring the stop arm as it makes a turn past the bus.
That car that turned should have stopped.
So even across the street, they should have stopped.
Everything stops.
And multiple cars going past the bus on the other side of the road, failing to stop despite the flashing lights and visible stop sign. According to police, once a violation is identified on the camera, the company flags it to the local police department for review. And if they issue a ticket, it's a hefty fine, $300 in Pennsylvania for a first-time violation.
This system allows us to be at every stop for every school
Should
bus.
be more.
In the nearby Marple Newtown School District, police say they ticketed more than 2,000 drivers ignoring the stop arm since that school district installed the bus patrol cameras at the beginning of the 2024 school year. And the Lower Merion School District is hoping it'll make a difference here.
Man, I know there are a lot of Cracker Jack box licensed drivers out there who clearly are inattentive or who don't know the road laws, like that you're supposed to stop when that stop sign comes out and it's flashing. And I get it. Safety is so important. And when people are disregarding following road rules, it's scary for kids.
Well,
there's a lot of school buses out there.
Here's the thing, okay? You've got this ginormous, bright yellow bus that we all know is carrying children. And then the sign comes out and it's red and it's blinking.
Flashing lights everywhere.
And those people still aren't paying attention. Imagine how they're driving without those things when they're driving around playgrounds and sports parks. And yeah, $300 is not enough.
Yeah.
We should shame them publicly too.
I'm going to take a different approach to this because the key words in there to me was AI-powered cameras. And after doing more research on AI, what it's all going to entail, the more and more of these AI data centers that are being brought about, it's just issuing a bigger and bigger and bigger and ever-reaching surveillance state.
Right.
So if you want to argue on the practical nature of something, for instance, the practical nature here would be people driving by the school bus when it has a stop sign out, right? It's illegal. Fine. You could argue about the practical part of it, but once you've compromised on that, you lose the principle. And the principle of it is, to me, that this is just ushering in more and more of a surveillance state.
Yeah. So the article cited there was an officer who had access to some of this data that wanted to track the activity of his ex-girlfriend.
Oh.
And
from the bus camera?
Yeah. So, I'm all for justice, and I think that people who are not stopping obviously should receive a ticket. But these buses are capturing data, as Jim was talking about, on every single vehicle that goes past, not just those that are violating any law, but every single one. And this is kind of leaning into that data mining and Big Brother overreach, in my opinion. One of the analysts even said, quote, leveraging something everybody supports, in this case, protecting children and safety, right, in order to expand mass surveillance is a typical way of trying to get people to accept surveillance. I recall a district I used to work in. There was a woman who got run over by a bus twice. The bus hit her moving forward and then didn't realize why the bus moved, so backed up and ran over her a second time. If there are going to be cameras on, there should be cameras on outside where bus drivers can see everything in their surroundings, so that stuff like that doesn't happen.
Yeah. See, I guess you guys took it a different language, or a different angle. I was thinking like they're motion activated cameras but apparently not.
Well, that would be great if we're limited to those cameras not collecting the data and strictly being used to enforce safety. But once you start, as Jim was talking about, doing this huge data mining, it's really unnecessary surveillance.
All right. Well, speaking of surveillance, this next story is all about, well, should we, have surveillance when it comes to looking at our children? Parents have revolted after a college had planned to use surveillance and experiment on children. And the parents fought back against it, and so now they're not going to do it.
University of Washington researchers plan to have preschool teachers wear cameras to record everything they saw from a first-person perspective, including the kids they were teaching, so they could use that footage to develop new AI models. Yikes. And more crucially, it was an opt-out service, not an opt-in service, meaning that if you didn't want your kid to be recorded and then processed by AI, you needed to take steps to prevent it. The footage would have been used to develop and evaluate AI models to assess classroom interaction quality. And that would include human reviewers who also went through this footage. These recordings just capture the normal interactions between teachers and the children during their regular everyday activities, the document reads. Recordings will happen in the morning for up to 150 minutes, with at least 4 visits a month. Your child will not be asked to do anything new or different. Their daily routine will stay the same. It continues. Understandably, parents revolted, and with the backlash, the University of Washington confirmed to 44 Media that they have shelved the project.
Shelved it, not put it in the incinerator. Just shelved it for now.
I'm glad that they shelved this project. Again, I'm completely against the AI surveillance state. And the mind-blowing thing here, this is an opt-out program.
Yeah.
They're not even going to tell you primarily that they're in it. Also, let's say 50% of the class opted out and 50% of the class opted in. That still would mean AI would have your son or daughter, even if it was blurred out or whatever it was, on camera. So, and I'm sure AI and the way it works could probably recreate what your son and daughter were doing, even if they were opted out of that program.
Yeah. The scary part is anytime we have large amounts of data that are being collected and stored, the question then becomes who has secure access to that information? Because we recently experienced, as did many schools across the country, a cybersecurity incident with our Canvas Instructure, and data, most of it not personally identifiable data, thankfully, but data like emails, usernames, and other somewhat identifiable information was leaked. It was accessed by a hacker. So anytime we're putting ourselves and our children's images out there for the world to see, it could end up being in the wrong hands. And that, I think, is the scariest part.
I'm actually 100% for having cameras in the classroom. You know, we are an all-online school, so it's a little bit different. We use Adobe Connect, and everything that we do in a live classroom is recorded, but it's kept on like just a private server, right, for only the students to go back and watch, which is actually very nice because let's say you have a concept in math that you're not understanding. You can go back and you can watch that recording. But I'm 100% for having, you know, that sort of technology within classrooms, primarily to see what the teacher is teaching the students, you know, what after everything that came out during COVID. Or I think a lot of parents would pull their students out of public school if they saw the way that some of the other students act. We've talked about that on this program quite a few times about how students have acted within a classroom. So I'm 100% for that, 100% against the AI part of it.
All right. Now, while in this previous story, the parents were doing good, trying to, be parents to their children, it appears in this next story that we have a little bit of a story about how parents are not being parents. In fact, one teacher is blowing the lid off of how bad parents are at parenting.
So I was in a parent meeting last week, and I am just having a really hard time letting this one go. So the kid is failing all of his classes, and mom got brought in because he's either not at school, or when he is passing out lights off in every single class. We're talking like the highest grade this kid has is a 12%.
What?
12 out of 100. So when we bring up the sleeping thing, mom's like, oh yeah, I think most nights he stays up till like 2 or 3 playing video games. That could probably be
Always
it.
a gamer.
Hello.
Always
Yeah, probably. And she goes, yeah, this has been an issue for a long time. I don't really know what to do about it. So we suggest take the games away. And this grown woman looked me dead in the face and said, but he'll be mad at me. And she doubled down and said, I don't want to take the games away because he's going to give me attitude and be so upset, and I'm not trying to deal with that. Don't want to deal with it. You're going to be dealing with it when he's 30 and living in your basement. And ultimately that meeting ended with no resolution because mom wouldn't do what was necessary to get her child to succeed. And they wonder why teachers are burnt out. I'm not burnt out from teaching. I'm burnt out from parents who won't correct their children because they're afraid of conflict. It's just crazy to me how often I have to remind people that they are in fact the adult in the relationship. We can't teach if you don't parent. End of story.
Okay. What I would have done if this were legal and I was allowed to do it, I would say, can you repeat that again? And she'd say, I don't want to hurt his feelings. And I just want to
yeah, good luck with that.
Because
Slap some sense into it.
I'm not a teacher, but for legal reasons. But having 2 boys, I realize really teaching them boundaries and rules. And now that they're getting a little bit older, you do have moments with your kids where you're like, wow, this is fun hanging out with you. Like we're friends. However, we've gotten to that point because they know what we expect of them. They know our house rules. Like, you teach them boundaries. There's a time and a place for everything. This kid, I would take away, like this on this thing here, I take away flipping everything. No video games. No Wi-Fi.
Lindsay.
No phone.
That
nothing.
is not how the way it works in these meetings.
We would take
Let me
the
tell
door
you
off.
personally,
We would
that is not how it works.
That is how it works.
That's how it should work. That's not how it works.
What if you
I'll
guys
tell you a story in a minute, but let me spit some biblical knowledge here for you.
Okay,
Proverbs 13:24. Whoever spares the rod hates their children, but the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them. Mm-hmm. How's that? That's Solomon, by the way. Wisest man to ever live. So I get in a meeting. Of course, the parent had to have it at 7:15 a.m. Classes start at 7:45 a.m.
Just enough
Student
time.
was failing our class, but it was an IEP meeting. And I will say there are some legitimate IEPs and there are just not some legitimate IEPs. Turned out that this student had ODD, which just means you get to act legally like an ASS. But anyway,
that's oppositional defiant disorder, by the way, for those who...
I'm not going to define the other one I just spelled out for you. And so we get into this meeting, but I had to teach at 7:45. So for the first 15 minutes, the mom went on how great this student is. They're always gifted. And then it came to me because apparently I was the only teacher who was failing him.
Oh.
And came
How dare
after
you?
me, exactly like this video here.
You were the only one holding him accountable.
And I was the only one holding him accountable.
Jack.
And God bless her, the special ed teacher looks like the life is just lifeless eyes. You've seen the teachers like this before, Principal Harper. And I said, and she came after me for failing him.
Oh.
But I came ready and I said, ma'am, I have to teach in about 1 minute, but here are his last 2 tests where for every answer, he drew a kitten. Have a great day. See you later. And I walked out because I had to go to class. Everyone else was not. I was a specialist teacher, and they're all core teachers. So I had to leave. But that's how it is,
Yeah.
Lindsay. That I know you're saying, like, I'd slap her up like this. But that's not how it works.
How were the drawings, though?
Yeah, that's
They
the real
weren't
question.
even A-level quality.
Oh, my goodness.
Was it the same cat over and over?
meow.
Yeah, did
Yes.
it build up with each question, or was it?
But he's
different?
gifted.
man.
He's gifted. That's all I
In
gotta
cat
say.
drawing.
So I had two boys as well, and thankfully my oldest, who's about to turn 28, I can't even believe it. He has learned something. I think I mentioned this once before on one of our shows. He did the Disney Dopey Challenge, which is where you run 4 races, a 5K, 10K, half and full marathon in 4 straight days.
That's insane.
My kid is not a runner. He'd never grew up doing anything athletic other than playing golf. But he learned something incredibly important called discipline. And I don't mean discipline as in corrective behavior measures. I mean discipline as work ethic, stick-to-itiveness, perseverance. And if we don't hold kids accountable like this, how are they possibly going to hold themselves accountable at any point in their life? Until they absolutely smack down and hit the rock bottom of any situation and realize, boy, I never really learned how to hold myself to an acceptable standard of living and existing and being. And we're meant, as you mentioned, we're meant to be an orderly human population, right? We thrive on order, we thrive on routine, we thrive on things that we come to expect time and time again because it's comforting, it's reassuring. This kid needs to have that gaming system smashed to pieces.
All right. Well, and on that note,
Agreed.
Agreed.
Freedom Project Academy is once again enrolling students for the fall, and we are celebrating by spotlighting the incredible teachers who make all of it happen. And this week, we're going to highlight Mrs. Jennifer Newkirk, who is one of our amazing elementary teachers. Let's take a look.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Newkirk, and I teach elementary school at Freedom Project Academy. I've been serving here since the year 2017. Since then, I've worked with several of the elementary grades. I currently teach 2nd grade or 3rd grade, depending on the enrollment per year, and I love it. The freedom! I love that we have a great set curriculum and great books that we use, so we do follow those guidelines, but I love the freedom that I have to teach at Freedom Project Academy and to really engage the students at their level, celebrate who they are, and include biblical integration into everything I teach, whether it's from arithmetic, talking about God's order, to science, talking about God's design and that He's the master artist. I really believe in what the elementary team does. I love the elementary team teachers. I know that we're all here because we really believe in what we're doing, what we're teaching. And we are so passionate. You were asking me what I love about Freedom Project, and I was saying I love the freedom, and part of that freedom is we can really teach the way that God has designed us as individual teachers. So I love that. Oh, I love the 4th of July. I love the 4th of July because I like Christmas. I don't like the cold. I don't like cold weather. I love the 4th of July. I love the sights, the sounds, the parades, the fireworks, and I just love being thankful for the sacrifices that all the men and the women serving in our military, which in a sense I would include first responders in that as well, to serve and protect our country, to continue that we can thrive in this country that God has blessed us with. Ice cream, all kinds of ice cream. Y'all go ahead and send me all your ice cream certificates. I got you ice cream. If I could just eat ice cream and Mexican food for the rest of my life, I'm set.
She's got some Culver's tokens in there for the free Scoopy.
That's funny. Mrs. Newkirk, I've talked to many times. I did not know that about ice cream and Mexican. Hilarious. But she is just a patriotic American.
Oh, yeah.
This is on the screen here. We have one of the projects she does with 2nd grade during Memorial Day. And just read one. The reason for Memorial Day is to honor the soldiers that served in our military and died for our country. And you can see some of our 2nd grade students' work and some of their drawings here. And she does another one in 3rd grade where they actually have to write a letter in cursive to a veteran.
Oh, I love that.
And it's just an amazing project. Just another one of the great teachers here at FPA.
Yeah, I believe her son is going into the military as well.
Mm.
Yeah. And
Her son is actually stationed in Okinawa.
Oh, is he?
Her and I were talking about this the other day because my grandfather fought at Okinawa in World War II.
Oh, well.
Nice.
So
another fun fact about Mrs. Newkirk, she was a professional drum major, drum and bugle corps.
Yeah, she played the tuba.
Yeah.
She is just that little clip, like you get a little glimmer of how much fun she is.
Mm-hmm.
She, like, talking to her was like that times 100.
Yeah.
Like, she was so fun and so sweet. And they had some video. It was like a Forrest Frank little dance. She, like the TikTok dances, she taught that to her class. She's just so much fun.
Very high energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, well, we are proud to say that Freedom Project Academy has been awarded Christian School of the Year by Education Insider. So if you'd like to see what makes FPA stand out, visit freedom4school.com and explore our live, anytime, and homeschool courses. And make sure to use code CD10 for class dismissed to save 10% on tuition. Well, that's going to wrap things up for today. If you do enjoy the show, please subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow the podcast on Apple and Spotify. You can find all the links at classdismissed.tv. Now, we will be back next Tuesday with another great conversation. For Dave, Jim, Lindsay, and myself, have a great week. Check out FPA. And until next time, class dismissed.